And good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Lynch. I'm the city manager here in Newton Falls, and welcome to our Corona Morning Update. And we do this every morning, Monday through Saturday, resting on Sundays as the good Lord did, and doing them at 7:30 approximately, give or take a minute or two, for an approximate 15-minute broadcast that will give us information about what's happening during the COVID-19 activity here in Newton Falls. We're doing this because when the COVID first got started, people said, well, what's going on in Newton Falls and what's happening with reference to our local area, Mr. City Manager? So we started this. One thing I wanted to make sure that I said to everybody, and that is I want to thank Gregory Films for participating in this process. Gregory Films is doing this production of the morning updates for $0, nothing, nada. And they're doing it as a community service. So we appreciate Gregory Films. Now, will they be able to afford to keep that up after the COVID-19? Probably not. But the point is that during this very difficult period of time, everybody's pitched in. We've had people make donations to the church fund that's supplying food over at the school. We've had people making sure senior citizens get their meals. Newton Falls comes together, and that includes Gregory Films. So those of you reading on Facebook, this campaign to get to the bottom of where the money is for these Newton Falls updates, the answer is go to Gregory Films, call them up, contact them by email and say, thank you. We appreciate you sticking with the city of Newton Falls by producing these morning updates for $0. Thank you. Well, speaking of friends in the Newton Falls area, following up with this theme of talking to our small businesses in town, one of the things we've been doing is seeing how they're coping. And some of us have gotten some tips from that. Other businesses learn from it. And it's certainly educational and instructional. And I said, speaking of friends, there's a great restaurant in town, and it's called Mi Amigos, which means my friends. And that's why I'm so delighted on the live line is the owner, proprietor of Mi Amigos Restaurant. We have an outstanding person, Mario Louies. Good morning, Mario. ¿Cómo estás?
Good morning, Dave.
Yeah. ¿Puedes trabajar durante el COVID-19?
Well, I've been taking it day by day. Practicing myself and my family.
Yes. Well, what are you doing differently in the restaurant in order to cope? Because obviously, you're in a takeout position right now, so how do you keep the social distancing going and still have those burritos flying out the door?
We have been practicing social distance. I have provided my employees with masks and make sure everything is clean, you know.
Sure. Well, that's outstanding. Well, you know, I've talked to folks, and during the coronavirus, they've been excited about the fact that they still have access to the great food you have over there. And also say this, Mario, people have a hankering not just for Mexican food, but for authentic Mexican food. And that's something you're able to supply, isn't it, Mario?
Well, right now, we will now sit in the full capacity.
Yes.
I have put the dividers in between booths.
Ah. Oh, that's outstanding. And that's going to let you open up to have the public sit down. By the way, Mario, when is that date for the public to sit down? Is that coming up?
Excuse me?
Yeah, I think it's coming up pretty soon when the public can sit down right in your restaurant. I think right around the 21st. Isn't that correct?
Yes, on the 21st. And I try to make sure the customers keep them feeling safe.
Yeah. And as it relates to the takeout process, you've been able to pace it so you don't have too many people crowded into Mi Amigos at one time. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, it's not a full capacity right now.
Yeah. Mario, financially, how is Mi Amigos able to get through this given that kind of limitation? How are you surviving?
Well, you know, again, like we're taking it day by day. I appreciate that people come over and still support the business. and that's what we do right now.
Sure. Well, Mario, tell me a little bit about something that the other restaurants are experiencing. That is that the gratuities, that is the tips that are received for takeout, have kind of gone up a little bit during the coronavirus. Are you seeing the same thing over at Mi Amigo's restaurant?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you say.
Yeah, the
Again,
tips, the tips, the gratuity, the bonus payments, el dinero de gracias.
Yeah, yeah, people support very good the service, and they tipping well, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Now, Mario, my understanding is that you yourself are integrally involved, so you make sure that the cooking is done authentically yourself. You're personally involved in that part, are you not?
Yeah, we are blessed to we are safe and healthy, you know.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Well, that's of course the way it's done. And you do one other thing that's pretty unique. You're one of the few places in all of Newton Falls. I think you're the only place where you can buy an authentic Mexican Coca-Cola made only with cane sugar as opposed to high fructose corn syrup. And you serve that right there, don't you?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, that's outstanding. All right, Mario, well, we've put your phone number up on the screen, and I'm not able to see it from my position right now, but it looks like it's 872, there we are, 1050. And Mario, people can call. When can they start calling to put their takeout order, and what time of day do your phones open up?
Thank you very much, and thank you, people support the business.
Sure, sure, okay. Adios, senor, gracias.
Adios, amigos. Bye.
Okay, that was Mario Ruiz, and truth be told, I won a Spanish speaking award while in college, and I tried to exercise some of those talents during that interview, and I will talk to Mario a little bit later on to determine what grade I should get. And those of you who want to grade my Spanish, send a postcard to 19 North Canal, City Hall, directed to me, Newton Falls 44444. There are 5 4s in Newton Falls, 44444. And we appreciate that so much. Well, in keeping with our small business theme that we've got going here today, I'm going to get a hold of the proprietor of another one of our outstanding small businesses, and that is Lakeshore Insurance. And we'll conduct this interview in English with Bill Rogers, who's the owner-operator of Lakeshore Insurance.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, Bill. How are you?
A great day in Northeast Ohio, let me tell you.
Yeah, it really is. Well, Bill, you are the guy that runs Lakeshore Insurance right in downtown Newton Falls on Broad Street. And I guess, Bill, the first thing is, given the COVID-19, I would imagine the insurance business has been operating a little bit differently than usual as well. Is that true in your case?
We've gone through a lot of change in the last 2 months. Certainly having some employees work remote, as well as just the concerns of coverages from our clients, has been a lot different conversations than normal, let me tell you.
Yeah, I bet so. What's the biggest change you've had to undertake, Bill, in order to accommodate the virus?
Well, from an administrative standpoint of running our business, we've had to have some of our employees work remote. We were issued the ability to work because we're considered an industry that was needed to be around.
Sure.
And so we were allowed to work in our offices, but because of the density of some of our offices, we have 9 offices throughout Northeast Ohio. Some of the offices are a little tighter on space, so we had some of those employees work remote at the beginning of the pandemic, and we've continued to do that all along. But one of the things that's really different in our business right now, David, is that normally people want to do business over the phone or through texting or email or fax, a little more on the technical side side and less social and personal visits.
Sure.
One of the things that this pandemic started, though, is a lot of people were at home. They were working remotely or sheltered, and they became captive to their house and then captive to an ability for us to communicate with. And what we found is that we normally do reach out calls every year to our clients anyways. When we were doing this process, though, a lot of our clients were able to take the time and actually wanted to take the time to go through their coverages and to kind of reassess where they were. As you can imagine, one of the biggest concerns that people had all of a sudden, and it's one of the first things I started to look at once I heard about the pandemic, is life insurance.
Yes.
All of a sudden, everybody got concerned about what if. And we have had just an enormous amount of conversations with our clients and written a lot of life insurance that didn't exist before because of this. It's unfortunate that that's the reason that caused it. By the same token, and I'll get a little technical here with you. If you start to become bored, tell me. But normally in a life insurance contract application, you have to have what's done is lab work, like a paramed. They come out to your house, draw blood, get some urine samples, that
Sure.
type of thing. Well, nobody wanted anybody in their house. So one of our carriers came up with the non-paramed program where they allow people to apply for life insurance without doing the lab work. And that became
Wow.
a very important part of our ability to get life insurance on people that didn't have it.
Wow. I mean, that's a pretty significant change. Really significant from the standpoint of the insurance company, the underwriter. It's a little bit different level of risk, isn't it?
It does, but you can imagine today when they get on the computer and do background checks on people with their medical history and medications, the life insurance companies have a fairly good idea of what they're dealing with.
Right.
And through this pandemic, especially Erie for us, one of our largest carriers, they went above and beyond to try to accommodate the needs of the American public. And it was just an amazing feat that they did this for us, that allowed people to get coverage without having the touch of a paramed or intervention with somebody coming to their house. So it made a big difference.
Yeah,
And
that's
if
huge.
You can also,
Bill, that's a huge difference. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
what I was going to also tell you is that's just life insurance. But what also happened in our business, and I'm sure people would admit that they just weren't driving much. So people were sheltered, not driving, and the companies responded with making rebates back to their clients. And
Oh, my.
so all of our carriers stepped up with that. So it was a good time for us to talk to our clients. It was a lot of stuff to cover, and they had the time to do it for the first time in a couple of years or a few years. So it really made for a good situation out of a bad condition.
Yeah, Bill, I'm kind of reading between the lines of what you've been saying, that the opportunity to contemplate one's life and death and needs, along with the fact that you're at home, you've got the time to do it, in a strange way, sort of made your business busier. Is that a fair thing to say?
I think that's an accurate statement.
Well spoken. Are you running for office, by the way?
You know, the other thing I was going to mention this morning,
Yeah.
the companies also realized that it was an opportunity to attract new clients, far different than any other opportunity we had.
Sure.
We were making the calls about life insurance. We were making the calls about going over your rebates that you might be getting. And we always, as a normal request with our clients, ask them if there's anybody that they know that would like to save some money. And they call that referrals. Most people that like doing business with the agent offer referrals anyways because they feel like their friends and family would be handled as they have been and that type of thing. Erie came out with a very attractive new customer auto rates, and our business has been very reflective of having very low prices.
Sure.
So we've been above and beyond busy, let me tell you.
Bill, before we wrap up, let's talk about the other side of the industry, claims. Frequently, claims involve an adjuster having to go to someplace physically how are you addressing that issue since people don't want to have human contact with others if they can prevent it?
David, it's a very good question. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, we had some windstorms down in the Akron and Canton area.
Oh, yeah.
They microburst hurricanes. We had flooding this past couple of weekends with heavy rains in Northeast Ohio. And you're right, the claims process has certainly changed. One of the benefits that technology has brought is drones and the ability to adjust with a camera on a drone for rooftops, as well as with the clients now, most people have a phone that can take a pretty good snapshot of what the conditions are. And the company's stepped up with making the process as fast, as quick, and as easy as possible for the person who's suffering from a situation of a claim. So we've actually probably grown in our ability to handle things faster and quicker because of this. As unfortunate as it may sound, it probably has benefited the industry a lot in the sense that we'll be able to move forward with some different practices and principles that may serve us all better.
Wow. Well, that is certainly refreshing to learn. Well, Bill, this is now time for the shameless plug portion of our broadcast where the local business tells us about how to get in touch with them. But Bill, before I do that, you are a full service insurance office, right? Home, life, auto, anything you can imagine, you can either find it or point them in the right direction?
Yes, we are the do-it-all people. We can handle just about anything. Some agents have a little more of a limited resource base. We have 23 major carriers that we represent, and we write some pretty unique things, all the way from home and auto to life and things in between for commercial. We do it all.
Well, that is outstanding, and the number is 330-872-0997, and here's a full-service insurance agency right in downtown Newton Falls, right on Broad Street, and somewhere between, as I recall, between Center Street and Arby's. Is that the right way to put it?
That is correct. Same side of the street as Arby's, big blue Erie sign on the building.
Oh, that is outstanding. Well, Bill, it's been very informative, educational for us because we want to know how business is doing in Newton Falls. Keep those fires burning because the rest of the economy is going to be opening up sometime shortly here. And quite frankly, we need locations like yours in order for all of us to survive in Newton Falls. So thanks for what you do for us, Bill.
Well, thanks for the time, David. Everybody stay safe, and we'll talk down the road. Thank you.
All right, thanks, and good health to your family. Well, folks, that is another small business getting it done in Newton Falls. You know, we have found that the small businesses in Newton Falls have used a lot of creativity, imagination, and their own original techniques about how to do things. And we're seeing entire industries sort of remade in terms of the way they do things, technology being there. And of course, it looks to me like a lot of the technology will carry on beyond the COVID-19 process. And maybe that means Newton Falls businesses will be even more productive. Well, thanks to Mario Ruiz for being on the program today. Get over to mi amigos. Let's support all of our local businesses. Wear those masks as a barrier between the micro droplets that come from your nose and your mouth towards other people. Thanks again to Bill Rogers from Lakeshore Insurance. And as I mentioned towards the end of all these broadcasts, please stay in touch with your Heavenly Father through prayer. And as I say at the very conclusion, God bless America and God bless the city of Newton Falls.